Hello friends, welcome back to Cosmopolitan Cornbread. So today I am bringing you into the homestead kitchen to do a little bit of baking. And the recipe I'm working on here is a cinnamon roll challah bread. So I'm starting off with 3.5 cups of unbleached bread flour. They are in my mixer bowl. And I'm going to add in 2.5 teaspoons of instant yeast. Now I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of dry milk powder. I'm adding in 1 cup plus 1 tablespoon of warm water and 1/3 cup of sucanat. If you're not familiar with sucanat, it's basically a type of cane sugar that is completely unprocessed. It's the juice that has been dehydrated. This will give the bread a very mildly sweet flavor. Next, I'm going to add in 1 egg plus 1 egg yolk. I'm adding in 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I'm just going to take my spatula here and get all of the ingredients down into the bottom of the bowl. We don't want any of the salt or yeast or anything up on the side. All right, I'm adding in another 1/2 cup of the unbleached bread flour. And now I'm going to add in 1/4 cup of very soft, slightly melted butter. Unsalted, of course. And now I'm going to add just enough flour to give me a nice soft dough. Overall, this recipe usually takes between 4 and 4.5 cups of bread flour. All right, the dough came together, but rather than go ahead and allow the mixer to do the kneading, I decided to go ahead and clean everything up and knead this dough by hand. Of course, in a moment here, I'm going to realize that I forgot to put some flour on the counter before I put the bread dough there. Whoops. So now I'm just going to knead the dough for about 5 minutes or so, or until it's nice and stretchy and smooth. You know, there's just something about making homemade bread, and for me, baking in general. This right here, this is my happy place. After the dough is kneaded and nice and smooth, I form it into a pretty little ball. I put about a tablespoon or so of extra virgin olive oil in my big bowl here, coat the dough, turn it over, and covered it with a damp tea towel. That'll rise for about an hour in a warm location. Once the bread dough is done rising, I'll go ahead and mix up the filling for the cinnamon roll challah. I'm going to start off with 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar. To that I'll add 1½ teaspoon of cinnamon, and I'll give that a mix, get it good and combined. And then I'll pour in 1/3 of a cup of melted butter. And I'm just going to mix that all together. Now this right here is one of the most satisfying parts of baking bread, the punch down. I'm just going to give the dough a quick kneading to work out some air bubbles. And now I'm going to divide the dough into equal parts, either 3 or 4, depending upon what sort of braid I want to do. Then I'm going to take each portion and I'm going to roll it out into a big rectangle. The bigger you make this, the more layers you'll have in your cinnamon roll. I did 3 strands, so I'm going to spread 1/3 of the cinnamon mixture onto the rolled out dough. And I'm going to roll it up nice and tightly. Pinch the seams together very well. And I'll do this process with all 3 portions. Once I have all of the strands rolled up, I'll go ahead and roll them out more on the counter. Carefully, gently working them until they're nice long strands, about 18 inches or more long. We'll pinch together the ends and then we'll just braid it. Once I have the strands braided, I'll go ahead and place my loaf on a baking sheet or baking stone that is lined with parchment paper. And I'll be sure to tuck in the ends really well. Once again, I'll cover it with a tea towel and I'll let it rise for about 30 to 45 minutes until it's almost double in size. After it's risen, I'll preheat my oven to 350 degrees. While the oven is heating, I'm going to go ahead and make an egg wash. I've got a teaspoon of water and 1 egg here in this bowl. I'm going to add a little bitty pinch of salt and I'm going to whisk this together until it's nice and smooth. Then I'll just take a pastry brush and brush this all over the top of the loaf. Into the oven for 25 to 30 minutes. Now I was trying to photograph this beautiful loaf of cinnamon roll challah bread, but I had a little bit of a helper in the kitchen and she was more interested in eating it than letting me photograph it. So I'm going to be making this again this week, and I'll be adding the recipe to my website where you'll be able to get a printable of it.
How am I supposed to get pictures of it if you're eating it on me, huh?
And when I do, I'll put a link in the video description down below.
Is that good?
Thanks for joining me here in the Homestead Kitchen. My name is Constance from Cosmopolitan Cornbread, and I'll talk to y'all next time.